Steve MacIntyre is a former player in the National Hockey League who spent a number of seasons with the Oilers and the Pittsburgh Penguins. At 6'5", 250 pounds, MacIntyre was known as the enforcer for his two NHL teams. Steve, how did you get the love for the game?
It's kind of one of those things where, we grew up playing baseball in the summertime and hockey in the wintertime, and it was either help Dad feed cows and do some more chores around the farm or play hockey, and they made the decision, that there was minor hockey in Brock, and that's kind of how my dad grew up playing minor hockey as well, so that was just kind of the winter thing to do.
Now, Steve, you didn't make the NHL until 2008, but before that, I mean, you played in the WHL, you played in the ECHL, the CHL. Tell us about the first time you stepped onto the ice at Rexall and throwing on that Oilers jersey.
Well, it was the very first time I put on the jersey in Edmonton. We were an exhibition game, against the Flames, obviously. I looked at the Morrow, and I kind of had started welling up a little bit. I said, I've dreamed about putting this jersey on all my life, and I said, I finally get to put it on. I said, it's a dream come true. If this is my first game, last game, I can say I put it on to go play the game I loved.
You're now known for your scoring, but back in CHL days, I mean, you had 14 goals. I mean, was that a big year for you playing for Bay County?
It was kind of an overage junior B type league. There's some people that made some calls to me and asked to see if I wanted to play, and I said, you know what, it's a good opportunity to go see the States and have that opportunity. I was originally supposed to be going to school to be a teacher, but I thought, you know what, I'll give it a try and see what it's all about. And fortunately, my coach down there, he was really supportive and really appreciated what I brought to the game. And he used me in different situations, and it was a lot of fun. It was a learning experience, just about the ongoing behind the door things that happened in hockey. That was my first taste of that. As far as a couple things that happened, but it was a good experience. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of good people, and I still keep in touch with some of them today.
Now, of course, you played with Sidney Crosby, the Pittsburgh Penguins. You played for the Oilers. One thing you're well known for is being the enforcer of the team. Quote, the bodyguard. Did you enjoy taking that role on with the in the NHL?
Back when I was growing up watching the Oilers, and Dave Semenko, Marty McSorley, Kevin McClellan, yada yada. Yeah, there's so many guys that played that role that could also play, and I grew up watching. So I'd be lying to say that. I was growing up to be Dave Semenko, or with all due respect to them. Obviously, when you're, on the pond or at home at the rink, you're, in the seventh game of the Stanley Cup Finals, and you score the overtime winner to win the cup. I mean, you're not really thinking. You're thinking you're Wayne Gretzky instead of. But at the same time, throughout my junior career, I was a big, strong farm kid from Saskatchewan, and I didn't necessarily have that skill set to contribute every night on that regard on the score sheet, but you tried to do the very best that you could, bringing other things to the table. And earlier on in my career, my mom, she would go for coffee when I started fighting. So, my mom, she wasn't a huge supporter of it, but I think under that, she kind of was the driving force. She kind of, she'll never say it, but she's a scrapper.
Former NHLer Steve MacIntyre on the show this afternoon. Steve, Oilers season underway. We're about 12 games in. What's your current take of the roster?
You know what? It's unfortunate, what happened with Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
But, you know what? I started following him a little bit more toward the start of the season when they hired Todd McClellan there. I always look forward to playing. He was coaching in Swift Current when I was in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, and I always liked the way he used Colton Orr and Matt Sommerfeld. He let him play, and guys such as myself, that was always a kind of a cool thing. And I always thought, I really like what he brought. He wanted guys work ethic. He wanted guys to be accountable for each other and accountable to their team. I think I think he's starting to bring that. I feel there might be a changing of the guard as far as that goes. He's definitely going to bring that. I like that term, Saskatchewan lunch pail or Saskatchewan work ethic. That was pretty cool at the start of his when he first got hired on there. I thought that was pretty neat.
Steve MacIntyre on the show this afternoon. Steve, did you ever fight Big John Scott?
No, we never did. John Scott and I, we never done. We played against each other a couple times, and we trained a little bit together in Boston. And like I said, it was just kind of, it never really happened. It just, nothing really seemed to go. I asked him in preseason last year, I said, hey, John, I said, give me a shot. I said, I got to try to make the Ducks here. He's like, not a chance. So, it never really transpired. But he's a big monster of a man. I remember the first time I ever played against him was in Wilkes-Barre. He was in Providence. He was in Houston, playing for the Arrows. And I ran into him in the front of the net, and I thought, holy man, this guy's a monster. But no, it never really ever happened.
Former NHLer Steve Big Mac MacIntyre on the show this afternoon. Steve, thanks a lot for doing this.
My pleasure. Good talking to you.